Hello everyone and welcome back to the In the Saddle podcast. My name is Chris Loader and I am joined by Marc Hryhorskyj, Izzy Phillips and Katie Midwinter as we preview this weekend's horse racing action, where we'll be focusing on the Challow Hurdle card at Newbury, and we'll also as well be having a look at some of the action at Cheltenham on New Year's Day. So before we get into it, we're just going to have a little bit of a discussion about some of the racing that's happened over the last couple of days. We've had the King George at Kempton served up a cracker. Facile Vega, he was disappointing at Leopardstown in the Grade 1 there, and also as well Galloping de Champs back to his best today, absolutely bolted up in the Savills Chase, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But Marc, I'll come to you here first. Shishkin, we were talking about him on the podcast. If he got off from the start, got away cleanly, we thought that he was probably the horse that had the most upside to him. Bit of a heartbreak for punters there, wasn't it?
Obviously talking about Shishkin, I think he's a quirky horse. Did say on the podcast that his price would change very, very quickly if he actually ran. From a price perspective, he was too short of 7-2. If you're on a bigger prices, 7s, 8s, 9s, you back him each way. But for win purposes, I think he was too risky. I mean, he's disappointed at Cheltenham when the banker, the good thing, refused to race at Ascot, and people are getting tanked in at 7-2. And then he did that. Seen a lot of people on social media as well saying that Shishkin definitely would have won. I'm not so sure. Like some individual said, quite funnily, said he would have won by 10 lengths. I don't know how he's worked that one out. Shishkin still had another fence to jump. I think people need to give Hryhorskyj a bit more respect as well. I mean, Hryhorskyj's just an absolute steer, and I think he won well. I think he would have won if Shishkin stayed on his feet as well. I think people need to give Hryhorskyj a bit more respect. And I see Shishkin's, I think he's around 8-1 for the Cheltenham Gold Cup. I mean, anyone who's back in that any post needs to shake their head. I don't think he can be trusted from a betting perspective. I don't think he can be trusted.
Yeah, that's fair play. Yeah, that's Mark's opinion then on the King George. Izzy, did you think Shishkin was going to win?
I think it's really difficult to tell. Coming into the second last, he didn't look to be slowing down. Obviously, I saw on the telly they zoomed in. He's tripped himself up. His stumble threw off, I think, the other horses around him as well. I mean, Nico de Boinville nearly kicked Harry Cobden in the face trying to sit on Shishkin. So who knows what it would have been like if, I don't know, Shishkin would have pinged the last, stayed on his feet. Maybe Hryhorskyj might not have got to him. I think it would have been close going to the last, because you don't know that Shishkin wouldn't have stayed on for company. But yeah, I do agree with Marc. I think even myself included, people have been sleeping on Hryhorskyj. I did have a few people messaging me before the race saying they really fancied him. So pleased that he's got like his diehard fans that stuck with him, and what a great price he was to go and win it. But yeah, he's a true stayer, and certainly I think has put himself right in the race. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows? It's always the great what if, isn't it? That's racing, but I don't know. I think Shishkin might have still won if he stayed on his feet.
Yeah, I think the thing we could say about Shishkin, if it come to a battle, you know he was going to give his all and probably fine, because we know that he has shown that ability to fight on numerous occasions, like Savannah Gamine when he beat Abracadabras in the Supreme as well. So we know he is a real battler, and he does find in a finish. Katie, what were your thoughts on the King George?
It was a good race. I think firstly you have to give credit to Hryhorskyj because he has gone under the radar a bit. I'm not sure why. He has always shown that he's a really strong stayer. He's got a bit of class about him. Probably would have placed in the Cheltenham Gold Cup had he stayed on his feet. So I think, yeah, he has to have a lot of respect. But for me, Shishkin was travelling so well in the race, and he just unfortunately stumbled. It was so unlucky. I really think he would have gone on to win. As you said, Chris, he's proven before that when he gets into a battle, he really does fight. And I think he would have stayed on well enough and had that extra bit of class to beat Raleigh and Hewick as well. And I think he had Allaho and Brayman's game beaten too. So yeah, I was a bit gutted because I really loved the horse and I wanted to see him kind of silence all of his critics and those who've said that he isn't top class, because he is top class on his day. I don't think you can doubt that. And I think 12-1 for the Gold Cup in March is a nice price each way. Be tough to beat Galopin des Champs, of course, especially after today's performance. But I think if you're getting 12-1 for a horse that is as classy as he is, I think it's a really good price. If the Brown came up as good to soft or better, I think he would have a really good chance of going close.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. Obviously, it is hard for Shishkin next year going into the Gold Cup. He is going to be 10, and the older you get, it is normally quite hard over those kind of trips in that kind of company. So that would be a slight concern. But he is lightly raced in the trip, and yeah, if it all goes to plan to him, maybe he could be one to maybe make the frame. But we did see the return of Galopin des Champs today. Absolutely romp home. I'll stay with you, Katie. After that performance, if he replicates that, do we think he wins the Cheltenham Gold Cup?
Well, he's the reigning champion. He's going to be very difficult to beat. I expected him to bounce back today. I think he was too good not to put in a good performance, better than his last two. And the step up in trip has definitely helped him. So yeah, I think he has to be the clear favourite at the moment. The one from Ireland that's proven himself to be anywhere near him is Fast or Slow. But it's going to be different away from Punchestown over this trip at Cheltenham. It's going to be a different proposition for Fast or Slow, and Galopin des Champs has got that experience over him in the race. So I think he has to be favourite now. I wouldn't really be lumping in to take him on, although, as I mentioned, that Shishkin I think is a good each way price at current prices. I think from a win perspective, it is going to be hard to go against Galopin des Champs if he's on a going day.
Okay, so Kate thinks Galopin is the one to beat at this stage in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Izzy, I know you're a big fan of Galopin des Champs. Were you pleased to see him win easily today?
Yeah, I'm so pleased that he just reasserted his dominance. I'm not a backer of Jerry Colomb. I know I mentioned earlier, obviously he lost to the Real Whacker, and the Real Whacker's done absolutely nothing since then anyway, so the form's not exactly sterling. Galopin des Champs, I think, will win the Gold Cup at Cheltenham in March. I do. I think it was difficult, wasn't it? Because his loss last time out came off the back of Brave Man's game loss. There was a lot of talk about whether the Gold Cup breaks horses. And I think, obviously, Galopin des Champs has just come through and proved that, really, I think a lot of it was a lot of overreaction. He was running in, what was it, a 2-mile 3, pipe opener. I think it was an overreaction. He's come back and asserted himself. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in March.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. Yeah, he couldn't have done much more. Maybe the form in behind is a little bit questionable, but he couldn't have done much more. Jerry Colomb, not sure about him now. That form doesn't look that special from last season. He got beat by the Real Whacker, who hasn't kicked on in his 2 starts. And
Galopin was given a different ride today as well. I think that was crucial to it, because when he's on the back foot, sometimes he can get a bit too close at his fences, and then he's a bit having to be niggled along a little bit.
He almost throws a bit of a strop, doesn't he, when he gets a bit behind?
But today, everything was so straightforward for him. Paul Townend kept it simple in the front, and it was easy enough.
Yeah, I think probably if you ride him a little bit more confidently, he's going to respond for you. And that's why he it didn't all go to plan for him last time out. But yeah, I still would like to see Fast or Slow. I think he has improved, and I think once we see the rematch, we'll know really who is the king. But for a lot of people, it is going to be Galopin des Champs. Mark, what were your thoughts on him today?
I think he was very impressive. I don't think there's any negatives to take about Galopin des Champs. I think Izzy's bang on the money with last time out, Fast or Slow. Ran over an adequate trip with Brave Man's game. Both of them got done for a turn of foot. That's a Fast or Slow won, in my opinion. I think step up and trip plays into Galopin des Champs' hands. got proven form around Cheltenham. I think agree with everyone. The Jerry Cologne form of the real whacker, obviously that doesn't look so great. Can maybe make sense why they didn't run in the King George, but I think he's pretty far clear. Obviously, it's not me for me to tip up favourites, but I think he's difficult to oppose. I know there's an argument that he doesn't stay, but Willie Mullins, he's got a history. He's the all-conquering Willie Mullins. He knows how to get them right, especially in this race. I think he's very difficult to beat. Shishkin on his day could put it up to him, but the thing is, can you trust Shishkin? That's the point. Can you trust him? I just, from a betting perspective, he's not one that I would lay. If you get what I mean, I don't think there's enough in the race because he's jumping sound. He stays, proven track record. Willie Mullins, he looks difficult to beat.
Yeah, I think he is definitely the king of the standing division now. I think the only young pretender it is fast or slow, really. I think the challenge from the UK and even today in Ireland, that was kind of the best of the bunch, really. And he's definitely head and shoulders above most of them. So,
Chris, what price is a Galloping Deschamps if Fast or Slow doesn't turn up?
Probably, it depends on the field and who does turn up on the day. But it'll probably be a shade of odds on, I think.
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah, probably maybe 8 to 11, 10 to 11 maybe. I think there will be people that want to take him on the day. That'll be sure. But it just depends on what the field is. But I think it would definitely be an interesting rematch if they do both take each other on in the Cheltenham Gold Cup come the festival. One of the other talking points I just wanted to talk about over the last couple of days as well was Facile Vega. I know a lot of people really thought that he was one of the bankers of Christmas, but you have to say he was ultimately quite disappointing. Mark, I'll come to you first. I saw you were saying that you didn't really fancy him when he won on his chase debut. You thought that there was others to take out of the race. Do you think you can't back him next time out?
Yeah, we were at Cheltenham that day when he was running in Ireland. We watched it, and I wasn't happy with his jumping. And we did highlight this on the previous podcast that jumping wasn't tested. He got an easy lead, got to set his own fractions. The second in the pocket, the JP McManus runner, clearly wasn't off. That didn't even run the other day. It was 4 runners and basically stepped up to championship pace and got found out. That was at what he was 1 to 4 when we did the podcast last week, and he was the lay of the weekend for me, and he well beaten out of the 4. I think he's a tricky horse. He's often goes off short prices, but he found the 50, won comfortably, and that horse looks progressive. Whereas Facile Vega, he's caught punters so many times, hasn't he? Just disappointing. Stepped up in grade, got his jumping tested, championship pace, and got found out. I think that's all you need to say. It wasn't like he was beating a neck. He was well beaten.
Yeah, he's kind of becoming a bit of a all or nothing horse, isn't he? He either has a 1 next to his name or he blows up. I know he has had 1 or 2 excuses in the past, but he was ultimately very disappointing. Izzy, what did you think of Facile Vega's performance? Would you be backing him for the Arkle and keeping the faith still?
I think it's very difficult, isn't it? Because that Arkle looks now to be quite a strong race. It's hard because I do think sometimes you can overreact. Horses do have poor runs. They're not machines. I know we love to hype them all up and, it's like unbeaten records and all this. But sometimes horses too just have a poor run. Like you say, Mark, potentially just got found out at the pace. We don't know that he won't train on and come back better. We mentioned earlier, Willie Mullins knows how to get a horse right. Who knows? I don't think all his ability has suddenly vanished overnight. But I do think that the Arkle does look a difficult race to go and win. It's one of the... I'm trying to think now who it is that's at the top of that market that ran over the weekend. There's been so much racing, it's like fried my brain. But, there are a few horses in there that do look to have a better chance now than Facile Vega on that run.
Yeah, I think you mean Marine Nationale.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Marine Nationale. I mean, obviously that was a dominant win, so that adds to your concerns if you've got an anti-post bet on Facile Vega. But I don't think it's completely all down and out. I don't think, like I say, I don't believe that all of a horse's ability goes away overnight because of a poor run.
Yeah, no, I think you're on the money. You do have to be forgiven in this game. I've never warmed to Facile Vega that much. I don't know. I think he is just a very enthusiastic horse that has a very high cruising speed. But when it comes to a battle, he's probably one that I wouldn't want to side with.
But it's quite interesting. I was looking at the Oracle betting there. I see In the Pocket is nearly around the same price as Facile Vega. Go back and look at that run last time out. Beaten by Facile Vega, but wasn't off. Given a hands and heels ride.
He is definitely one to keep an eye on. I thought he was definitely the eye catcher in that race you're talking about, Navan, Mark. So, yeah, In the Pocket, keep an eye out on him. But Katie, what do you think of Marine Nationale? Do you think he's definitely got better claims now than Facile Vega?
Oh, for the Arkle, yeah, definitely. I think Facile Vega needs to step up in trip now. He hasn't done too much wrong. I'd say the other day it wasn't the most straightforward race for him. He kept switching back and forth a bit, trying to avoid Founder 50. He kept jumping to his right. I have to say, I was impressed with Founder 50 because he didn't jump as fluently. It wasn't as clean a run as maybe they'd have liked, but he still won as he did. So he is a lot of room for improvement, I think. But with Facile Vega, it probably just wasn't his day. I'd quite like to see him go for the Turners now. He's a good price for that. I know that they have Gaelic Warrior in there. Could run both of them or maybe take Gaelic Warrior a different route. Who knows? But I think Facile Vega looks a bet to me in the Turners. At the current price is around 12-1. Having a little each way bet on him because I think he's just crying out for a step up in trip. I don't think his jumping has been too bad personally. But maybe he just couldn't go with the pace, as Mark said, upped in grade over 2 mile 1 furlong. So maybe a step up in trip will do him a lot of good.
Yeah, maybe that could be the way. Dam obviously was Quavega who dominated the Mares Hurdle. That was over 2.5 miles. And yeah, maybe that could just bring out a little bit more improvement, but we'll have to see what happens to him next time out. Anyway, enough of what's been going on over Christmas. You want to know what we think of the action that's coming up over the next few days, and we are going to Newbury for the first race we're going to look at. We're going to the 150. It's the Coral Racing Club Join for Free handicap hurdle, and Get a Tonic is your favourite at 9-4. We've then got Steeler March at 7-2, Irish Hill at 5-1, Rambo T at 15-2, Now or Never at 8, and Silent Revolution is the outsider at 17-2. Mark, you can have first say here if you want. Get a Tonic was very good when winning last time out, has to be said. Chasing didn't go to plan, but she was thrown us in the market that day, so maybe Connections thought she wasn't that well fancied. Do we think she's the one to beat here, even though she does have to carry top weight?
I think she's the right favourite. A good winner last time out. I think definitely the one to beat here. I think it looks a weak race.
Yeah, it doesn't look the most strongest. Izzy, would you be siding with Dan Skelton's mare?
Well, it's difficult. I don't want my money on any of these horses, to be honest, but I have got a decent reason as to why. I think that Get a Tonic is carrying a lot more weight. It was a very easy victory at Newbury's Hennessy meeting, but the form of that race is pretty poor. I think Steeler March looks to be fairly versatile. But looking at his previous form, it looks like he could need the run. He's often come second on his first time out. So yeah, it's not really a market I would want my money down on, to be completely honest with you. But I will say, when I've been looking at some of the Cheltenham entries for New Year's Day, I've noticed Steeler March also holds an entry there as well. So whether he'll go for one or the other, or whether Nicky Henderson's thinking a quick pipe opener here at Newbury and then straight to Cheltenham, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Well, he has actually been declared, but who knows? I think the ground it could be a little bit on the soft side at Newbury. We've had a lot of rain down here in the south the last couple of days, and
rain forecast as well. Quite a bit of rain forecast.
Yeah, his best form has come on better ground. So Stephen Marsh, even though I do think he's the interesting one, and Nicky Stable haven't done much wrong. He actually was fancied this horse for the Potumps, I remember, earlier in the year, but he had a setback. So that is maybe a little bit concerned why we've not seen him for a while. But I think out of all the others, he's probably got less question marks than some of these. Katie, what was your overall opinion on the race? Bit trappy?
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. It's a trappy race, not a bet for me. Gatatonic carrying 12 stone, though, it puts me off slightly. Her run last time, I think, was probably the time to catch her. Steal a match, he could do anything, hasn't been seen for a year, and as Izzy mentioned, might need the run, but he probably has enough talent, so if he is ready, then maybe he could go close. But if I was forced to choose, I'd probably side with Irish Hill. First time blinkers on, I think there's some room for improvement there. He's off 127 here. It could be a map that's workable enough for him. His last win came at Ascot February, where he beat Zoffany Bay. But there were some others in behind that day that franked the form. Petit Tonnerre, he finished 7th in the county, which was quite decent. Hon Public has won a Grade 2, albeit was quite fortunate to win it. But I don't think it's the worst form. And maybe in terms of the handicap in this race, he could be the one that's the best handicapped.
Okay, maybe Irish Hill to keep an eye on with the first time blinkers for Katie. So that's our thoughts then on the 150 at Newbury. We now move swiftly on to the 225 to the Coral Mandarin handicap chase. Surrey Quest is your favourite 11-2. We then got Fantastic Acts next in at 6-1. Atlanta Brave at 13-2. Les Garland 7s. Babs Greatness 17-2. Certainly Red 10s. And bigger are the rest. Izzy, I'll come to you here first. Fantastic Acts. We saw him bounce back to a little bit of form last time out, has to be said, when finishing second at Ludlow. I know he's a horse that you like because of the Nine Twists and Days connections. Do we think he's now down to a workable mark and he might be able to rediscover some of that old spark?
I do, but my concern is that his first pick is apparently Haydock. So I'm not sure, really. I'm not particularly enamoured with any of these. It would have been Fantastic Ass for me, but obviously I don't actually think he's going to run here. I think he's going to run at Haydock. Yeah,
that's one you just have to watch. Again, it's probably that ground thing. Where's he going to go? Maybe the rain could affect that, but he would have to be respected wherever he turns up. Katie, what were your thoughts on this race? Did you have a strong fancy?
I didn't have a strong fancy. I'd probably take a chance on Not a Chance, but I wouldn't be too confident in him. He might be aggressive now. He's a horse I like. He often comes on for his first run of the season, £12 lower than his last winning mark, but that was a while ago now. But he is a strong stayer. Maybe he could fill one of the places at a decent price. He's around 14-1. So maybe I'd have a small save on him, but not a confident vote for me.
Okay, and how about you, Mark?
I think this is trappy. So it's not a race I'd get massively stuck into. I thought the Richard Hobson runner was quite interesting. Doc picked me. Was actually quite prominent in the betting last time out at Haydock, which won by Famous Bridge. I think that could be decent form. But the ground looked hard on that occasion. It's proper grueling stuff over that ground for 3 mile 1. I think this one will handle conditions again at Exeter off 129. The man at the moment, Gavin Sheehan, on board. I think this is a lot easier. And there's a lot of them in here that aren't well handicapped, so maybe nick a place at 18s. Will stay.
Okay, and outside of them from Mark, Doc picked me. I quite liked one in here, probably my nap of Saturday. I thought Atlanta Brave was very interesting for Richard Patrick and Kerry Lee. Only 2 runs over fences, but they've been promising both runs, I feel. I just think he's crying out for a step up in trip, and he's going to get that here, gets the extra couple of furlongs. Thought it wasn't a bad run last time out when second at Exeter. He runs off the same mark here. The form isn't too bad. 5th in there, Landon Coolin won the Lincolnshire National at the weekend, so it's good to see that form getting franked. And I just think there's loads of upside with him. Previous point-to-point winner. He beat Ed Keeper as well, who won a decent handicap for Sam Thomas at Newbury. I just think there's quite a bit of upside to him. Still lightly raced, and for me, I do think 1-2-1 it could be a workable mark. I could easily see him having maybe half a stone in hand here, potentially if he does take to the extra couple of furlongs. So for me, I think Atlanta Brave, I think he could potentially go a favourite in the day. Kerry Lee's team doing okay as well. So for me, I'm going to go with Atlanta Brave. We're now moving on to the feature race at Newbury to the Coral Shallow Novices Hurdle. It's a Grade 1, and this doesn't look a bad renewal at all. Some good horses in here. Willman is your favourite for Nicky Henderson at 13-8. We then got Captain Teague at 4-1, Johnny Hewitt at 11-2, Look Away 17-2, Fanage 9s, Masecchio 12s, bigger are the rest. KT Wildman, obviously he's got a lot of ones next to his name. He's trained by Nicky Henderson, who can't do much wrong at the moment. Do we think he's a worthy favourite here?
Yeah, he's got a big reputation and he appears to be one of the best novices at Seven Barrows this year. Maybe better than Jericho de Rupine, who we're going to see earlier on in the card at Newbury. I think if Nicky Henderson is right about this horse, then he should put in a very good performance, and he's probably going to be tough to beat, but I think he's got tough opposition against him. Captain Teague, he might have been a little bit unfortunate in the Grade 2 at Cheltenham, but the form has been franked by Manella Missile, who bolted up at Chepstow yesterday. Probably has the best form in the race with his third place finish in the champion bumper behind Dream to Share and Fact to File, and he had the likes of Lecky Watson, It's For Me and others and behind who've won since. I think Captain Teague is probably going to be a big danger. I also really like Look Away, who has proved himself in open company when he placed in the Greatwood. Lucia finished behind him that day, went on to win at Ascot, so that form's been franked as well. I think it's a good level of form, and I think he's probably been overlooked in this field because he probably appears a bit more exposed than some of the others. I also like Masaccio, who's quite a big price in here, but maybe not good enough to get the win. So I'd be between Captain Teague, Look Away and Masaccio at the moment. I think Captain Teague probably for the win, and then an each way with Look Away for me.
Okay, Captain Teague and Look Away it is for Katie to take out of the Challow. How about you, Mark? Is Willman a horse that you want to be laying on the day, or do you think he's a one to be with?
I think he's too short. I'll echo what Katie said exactly. I think Look Away's too big a price. That form has been franked with Lucia bolting up at Ascot. One thing I've always found just throughout my betting sort of career is if you back these hype horses, you're going to lose long term. I mean, 13-8 is too short. I mean, this is not an egg and spoon race. It's not an obvious hurdle where Nico's nicking 5 lengths at the start and set his own fractions. This is a proper race, proper championship pace. And even Captain Teague, it was a very progressive horse, been highly tried, been bumped into a Dream to Share at Cheltenham, highly thought of, and bumped into one of our friends, Evan Williams and Adam Wedges last time out. That horse looks smart as well. I think Captain Teague's got solid form. The big Diane, solid. I mean, he rated 140. I mean, this isn't a penalty kick for Wilma. 13-8 is too short for me. And some of the outsiders as well have got a chance. I mean, the other Paul Nicholls runner, Brian Frost, takes the ride. Fornage, I mean, that's got a chance. He's too short, Wilmot, for me. I'll be taking him on.
Okay, so we've got a few then to take on Willman with. Are you going to be taking him on as well, is he?
I am. I know you mentioned earlier about the forecast and the rain, and if you look at Willman's form, he does very much seem to like that sort of general good to soft ground. I think it could end up on the soft side, potentially on the heavy side, depending just how much rain they get at Newbury. And on the fact that he's got to step up and trip a little bit as well. So I think Captain Teague is obviously the proven horse at the trip. He's running some pretty decent class races so far. And I think weighing those two things up, I would side with Captain Teague. But I'm quite looking forward to seeing these two go at it. But I just have a feeling that, especially if it gets a little bit softer, Captain Teague will have the stamina to see off Willmount.
Okay, a couple of positive mentions then for Captain Teague. I did like one here, a bit of a big price. Does have to step up on what he's done, but I've been quite impressed with how he's been going about his business. And that's a horse called the Jukebox Man for Ben Paulin in the colours of Harry Redknapp. Has won in deep ground on his last 2 starts. First last, but he does have some good form from earlier on in his career, including when he finished second in a bumper behind Gidley Park, who has been a very good horse so far for Harry Fry. over hurdles. I just think there's a bit of upside for him, and I just think if it's going to be a test of stamina, I think he's going to be suited by the way the race, how it can unfold. I think he's just an out-and-out galloper, and that long home straight, we saw it last year at Newbury when Hermes and Alain slooshed up in the soft ground there. I just think he's a little bit overpriced here, and he's been a little bit disrespected. But he does have to step up. But at 16-1, I could definitely see him outrunning his odds, and I think he could have a few things in his favour against some of the likes of the top of the market here that maybe do have to prove it. And the likes of Johnny, who he was impressive, could be anything. But for me, I wasn't convinced that he beat that much. So I would be quite interested in the Duke Boxman, especially if he is around about that price at 16-1. So that's our thoughts then on the 3 o'clock, the feature. We're now going to go on to the 3:35. Walking on Air is your favourite at 4-1. We've then got Golden Sun at 9-2, Ballycamus at 5s, Passing Well 5s, Lubert Faras 10s, Neon Moon 10s, Henry's Friend 12s, Moon Hunter is the outsider as well at 14-1. Mark, come back to you here. Walking on Air was quite an interesting horse for Nicky Henderson last season. Ran well at some of the big festivals. But this is a tough ask, carrying 11 stone 9 on his chase debut in a race like this. Again, is he a horse that you would want to take on?
I think he's around the right price at 4-1. Not one that I'd be laying at that price. It's a no-bet race for me. I just think it's very competitive, very tricky. Not sure what their confirmed ground is going to be like. It looks a poor race, doesn't it? Not a race that I'll be getting involved with from a betting perspective. He's off 138 as well. He's not thrown in, but not for me. That's a no bet race for me.
Okay, no bet from Mark. How about you, Izzy? Is there anything you liked?
Predictably, I quite liked the look of Ballycamus. I think, he's gone one place better every time he's run this season, so I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Yeah, he'd definitely be interesting. He won't mind if it gets soft as well. Won well last time out at Chepstow. How about you, Katie?
It's a tricky race. I quite like Neon Moon. I put him up when he won at Ludlow on his seasonal reappearance. He's £4 higher here in a more competitive race, so I'm not sure I'd side with him this time around. I think the first 3 in the market, Walking on Air, Golden Sun, Passing Well, they're all quite interesting, so I reckon it'll be between them.
Yeah, I thought there was the outsiders, Henry's Friend and Moon Hunter, were quite interesting, especially Henry's Friend. Had some good form in the book from last season, second run after a wind up, but most of his form has come on better ground, so it would be a slight concern possibly there. But I do think he's got a little bit more to offer, and 1-2-8 might not be a bad mark for him, so I'll be keeping an eye on him. But again, it is quite a tricky race. So that's our thoughts then on the card at Newbury. We're now going to move over to Cheltenham for their New Year's Day action. Some really good racing there, plenty to get our teeth stuck into. I should just say that at the current time of a recording, we actually don't know the full fields for these races, obviously because the decks aren't in yet, but hopefully we can give you an indication of what might run well, at least if they do turn up. And the first race we're going to look at is the 1:30 at Cheltenham. It's the Paddy Power Handicap Chase. Inch House is your favourite at 11-4. We've then got Cloudy Glen next in at 9-2. Stumptown 11-2 as well. Bow to Greatness 6-1. Angel's Breath 7s. JJ Riley 10s along with Rapper. Bigger are the rest. Izzy, I'll come to you here first. Inch House, he's been pretty progressive, it has to be said, so far this season over fences. I think if he wins this, you definitely have to say he's going to throw his hat into the Ultima. Do you see him being that kind of horse?
Potentially. I really like him to go and get the win on New Year's Day. He's been a horse I've been really impressed with his past 2 runs at Newbury. I think have been quite special, to be honest. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. I'm hoping he can go and follow up again. Whether or not he'll take the races at Cheltenham, I think it's so difficult to know at this point who's going to go where. I'm trying not to get too drawn into the anti-post markets, to be honest with you, because I think you can win as much as you can lose at this point with them all swapping, moving about. So I don't know whether value is really the word anymore for the Cheltenham anti-post market. Might as well run the race next week, the way people carry on. So yeah, I'm not a massive anti-post backer. So, but for New Year's Day, absolutely, I'm all over Inch House.
Yeah, I can definitely see the case. I just think he's been really progressive so far, and 137, he could still have a lot of upside. Katie, do you think Inch House is the one to beat here?
Yeah, I think he's probably the right favourite. Been in for a hat-trick of wins. He's definitely one for the short list. I think it's difficult to say before declarations for me. I'd have to see who gets declared to see if I'd bother taking Inch House on. I quite like Stumptown. He was unlucky in the Coral Gold Cup at Newbury. He had to be pulled up after being really badly hampered, but he was never really travelling all too comfortably. So maybe he's best watch for now. I thought Rapper, if he turns up, he's off quite a nice mark of 139. Dusat probably has a bit too much weight to carry if he does get declared. The Wolf is another one that would interest me each way. He always has the potential to land a big pot if things fall his way, but he just isn't the most straightforward. He makes a lot of jumping errors and he can be off the bridle quite early on in his races, but he seems to stay on well in the finish. So if he's declared, I'd definitely be interested in him each way. He's around 20-1 at the moment. But I think Inch House is probably going to be the one to beat.
Okay, there's a bit of love here for Inch House. Do you see the case for him, Mark? Would you think he could be quite hard to beat?
Yeah, he's definitely the right favourite, progressive, from a good stable, John O'Neill's. I think there's I wouldn't say Deadwood, but there's a couple of interesting ones. I think Stumptown off 142. You have to respect Gavin Cromwell. Anywhere he sends over to Cheltenham runs well. He's really taken advantage of that this season. There's a few old characters in here. Duzart off 150, not showing his best for a long time. Cloudy Glen, probably be better suited to a flat track of 143, an 11-year-old. And then you've got Angel's Breath. This horse has been highly tried, a 10-year-old for Sam Thomas. I would be a bit concerned with the stable form. He's had a lot of runners that have been fancied and they've been completely tailed off, so I don't know if there's something wrong with the yard. One at a price, and I think the favourite looks difficult to beat. I think it is the right favourite. It is Lord Accord, Neil Mulholland. Charlie Deutsch takes the ride. Back down to the last winning mark, 131, has Cheltenham form, course and distance. The big price, around 18-1. If you get an extra place, probably be the bet. But the favourite looks difficult to beat. A couple in behind, I think there's question marks there.
Okay.
I think it's probably a 7-4 chance. 7-4, 2-1 chance, if I'm being honest with you. It looks progressive.
Yeah, it could be similar to what happened with Broadway Boy a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, Inch House could be the one to beat then in the 130, it seems, from us. The 1205 is a Paddy Power New Year's Day handicap chase. Stage Star is your favourite at 5-4. Richmond Lake at 6-1. Shake 'em Up Harry 7s. Ferrari Bamboo 9s. Meeting of the Waters, who won the Paddy Power chase, at 10s. Unlikely to show up here, I imagine. Al Dancer next in at 12s. Railway Hurricane 20s. And Tornham Frey the outside at 20-1 as well. Stage Star, Casey, obviously was very impressive carrying top weight to win the Paddy Power chase last time out. Do we think, despite carrying 12 stone, he should be beating these?
Yeah, I think he's got a good chance. I'm not too confident in any of the other two. As you said, Meeting of the Waters won at Leopardstown yesterday would be a very quick turnaround for him, so it's unlikely that he's going to be going there. Stage Star's gone up £11 for his win in the Paddy Power Gold Cup. It's a lot of weight, but I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he's definitely going to be the one to beat. I doubt it's going to be too testing at Cheltenham, and he's got the course form. So he's definitely got the class on the rest of them, and there's going to be a few out of the handicap as well if he is declared. So he's definitely got the class angle in there, and I wouldn't want to be taking him on.
Okay, and how about you, Mark? Stage Star 5-4 looks short enough, but again, there's probably not much to take him on with, is there?
I think his win last time out in the Piper Gold Cup was quite an incredible performance, because he looked like he had the race completely sewn up and he made a terrible mistake at the last, and he's just held on Harry Cobden, but then he still managed to pick up again. I mean, it was a grueling test over 2.5 miles and he still won easy. Again, he's having a lump. He's got £11 for that. He's lumping 12 stone around here. He handles the track. An argument here would be, do you think it's a better race last time out compared to this? From a range perspective, it would be. I think Richmond Lake's interesting. Could be good placing for Donald McCain off 150. £16 a lot of weight. He definitely looks progressive. It was a good win entry last time out. Apart from that, there's not a lot left in the race. I mean, you've got Sam Thomas running there, which is weak. 6s out to 12s. Al Dancer, I'm not sure about the form of the yard. Willie Mullins just got one in the race as well. Those famous colours, 10s. The Venetia Williams horse, 136. I don't know if there's a lot of improvement there. Shake 'em Up Harry, 139, 10-year-old. It looks like a match bet at the top of the betting, doesn't it? Really? I mean, maybe Richmond Lake each way could be the each way here.
Yeah, it could be the each way fever. I doubt all of these turn up. Currently got the 8 places at the moment. If you can get the 3 places and you post, yeah, maybe 6-1 isn't a bad each way shout there. Bit filthy each way.
He absolutely tanked through the race last time out. Richmond Lake, he absolutely tanked through the race. Loved the ground. I mean, if they go hard here, and they probably will, Stage Star sets up, he's the one to challenge. And maybe the weight will stop the favourite.
Okay, so that's Mark's thoughts then on the race.
He's 7-2 best price now, though.
Oh, is he?
3-1 generally, yeah.
Well, this is what I've got on the old Racing Post screen. They need to update their odds. But, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe the value's completely gone there. But, yeah, Richmond Lake.
I'll take the 60s, all right.
Yeah, there'll be someone paying out there somewhere, maybe in a foreign land. But
it's a good price, though, if you think he's only got to beat one horse. That's to give away a lot of weight. No, it's still a decent price.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I just think maybe the only thing I would say about Richmond Lake is obviously bowled up at Aintree, but there were quite a few wide margin winners that day, and you just don't know if a hard race might have left their mark on them. So that would be my concern with Richmond Lake. But Izzy, what did you think on Stage Star? Did you think he's got a good chance here?
I mean, he's got an excellent chance, hasn't he? If there's one thing you can say about Stage Star is I've never seen a horse want to win quite so much. Like that race at Cheltenham really felt like Hollywood stuff. There were so many of the owners group owners there, and it gave them such an incredible day. You're going to want that sort of feeling again. So it's not hard to see why he's favourite here, like to all but fall and then still go on and win. You know, he picked up the bridle and went away again. He was so impressive. Richmond Lake, I get what you're saying, Chris. Perhaps it wasn't potentially a hard race at Aintree. It was heavy ground, although he did have a similar heavy ground race carrying 12 stone at Wetherby in November as well. So I don't think he's too averse to a hard day's work. So Richmond Lake, I do think, I mean, it's clear he's a danger. He's the second favourite in the race, but he could be, I agree with Katie, quite a good price for to have a go. Stage Star's quite short for me, even money, and he is carrying a lot of weight. So I think at the weights, Richmond Lake looks to be the bet.
Okay, Richmond Lake it is. Then to maybe take on Stage Star, it seems. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next race we're going to look at then, and 3:15 at Cheltenham. It's a feature Dornan Engineer and Railkill Hurdle on the card. The Grade 2, Bob Ollinger is a favourite at 2-1. We've then got Lossiemouth next in at 11-4. Marie's Rock last year's winner at 11-4. Imperial Pass at 5. Strong Leader 15-2. Ashrow Diamond 9s. Bigger are the rest. Mark, I'll come to you here first. It was good to see Bob Ollinger get back to winning ways last time out, but can he be trusted? That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, he was a good winner last time out. Course and distance winner. Again, the only question mark I might have just through the Bromhead yard. Not exactly flying at the moment. Do you think Lossiemouth's going to turn up? That's another question mark. If Lossiemouth doesn't turn up, is Bob Ollinger going to be an even money chance? Marie's Rock went out like a light last time out. Willie Mullins' other runner, Imperial Epate, probably won't turn up either. You've got to see what turns up here, because you might only end up with 4 or 5 runners here, and Bob Ollinger could be a 4 or 7 chance. That's what might happen.
Yeah, it's one of them. We just don't know. It's Willie Mullins bingo.
Sorry, Chris. I thought Manila Missile was interesting at 20s, but I know 33-1. But is he going to turn up? And that was a good run last time out behind Captain Teak, and obviously that form's linked into a race we covered earlier. looks progressive, and it's not like Evan to let them go off for those prices. So this is maybe what he's waiting for, get a bit of that fairy freeze.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows with Evan Williams there. It caused a bit of surprise last time out, and if that form is franked by Captain Teague winning the Challow, that price could come in a little bit. Izzy, what did you think on the Challow Hurdle? It could be a bit of an interesting puzzle, couldn't it?
I felt exactly the same as Mark. There's so many here that I'm a little concerned might not turn up, and that could obviously mess with the betting quite a bit. I think I'm a massive fan of Bob Bollinger, so I'd love to see Bob Bollinger come out and win here. And I think it might be time to take the price, because there are a lot of these I think could come out. And obviously we've looked at Captain Teague already today. If Captain Teague does go and win, that really does frank the form for Minella Missile. So you'd want to potentially try and catch that price before Captain Teague runs, because that could come right in if Captain Teague goes and wins. So that's just an interesting angle. But one I'm like almost tempted, because I just said I hate anti-post betting. This is one I'm tempted to look at anti-post, because the prices are really going to change from what we're seeing now. So the value in the race, I think, will completely go. I think 100%, maybe 4 or 5 runner max. And Minella Missile and Bob Bollinger, I think both of those at the price they are now look quite good.
Okay, so an agreement, Mark. Bob Bollinger and Minella Missile.
You're on mute, Chris.
Right. Yeah, okay then. It looks like we're in agreement. Bob Bollinger and Minella Missile are going to be the ones to keep an eye on. Maybe come next time on Saturday. So yeah, keep an eye out there. How about you, Katie? Did you think this could be a penalty kick for Bob Bollinger?
No, I don't think it's a penalty kick, but I think this is a serious option for him. So it looks more likely than not that he is going to be declared. But I think the race is going to really cut up. Like Lossiemouth, I can't see her going there. You've got Galamasso, might swerve it as well. Imperial Pass is running tomorrow against Stateman. So he looks unlikely to make the trip over. And Marie's Rock, I'm just not a big fan of, I'm afraid, and I would be against her. Although the drop-in trip is definitely going to help her, I think she just can't be trusted. The one in here for me, and I've had a small saver each way in case she is declared, is Astro Diamond. I think she's a massive price each way at 9-1. If she's declared and the race really does cut up, then she's going to be second favourite if Bob Bollinger's in there too, I'd say. And she can improve for her first run of the season. She's a really talented mare. And I'd say they have high hopes with her. So if she's declared, I think the 9-1 is going to be a steal. So hopefully she does run, and I think she's probably the most likely of the Willie Mullins runners to be heading to Cheltenham on New Year's Day.
Okay, that's Katie's thoughts then on the Raquel. Yeah, I just think this all revolves around who turns up. I wouldn't completely write off Marie's Rock. I know she's fallen off a cliff, it seems, to some people, but yeah, you had to go 2 starts ago, and she did finish second in Grade 1 company at Aintree, so it's not like she can't put it together. And even the form last time out behind Dashel and Paisley Park, at the time it didn't look great, but both of them finished second and third in the long walk, so there is some substance to that form. She won the race last year, she goes well over the course and distance, gets the mares allowance. There could be a lot to like about Marie's Rock, so maybe I wouldn't give up on her just yet, especially with Hendo's team going really well at the moment. They're having plenty of winners operating at a 33% strike rate, so I wouldn't quite give up on Marie's Rock, but I think this is going to take a better shape once we know what's going to be running here on Saturday. So that's all the races covered then from the podcast. There are some other races going on over the next few days. Did anyone have anything they would like to add? The floor is theirs if you had anything else that you fancied this weekend.
I've got a couple to mention. So Taunton 210 on Saturday. I'm really looking forward to seeing Queen's Gamble. And I'm on New Year's Day, all being well, and they run. I'm really looking forward to seeing Matata, who was a 10-length winner last time out. He's running in the 12.55. And I'm also looking forward to seeing the newest one. Let me just see what time he's running. I think it's 2:40 in the Paddy Power Handicap Hurdle. So looking forward to seeing the newest one for the Tristan Davis team.
Okay, a few there from Izzy to keep an eye out over the next few days. Anyone else? Mark, anything that caught your eye?
Probably just say take it easy. Looking forward to seeing Queen's Gamble. Harry Derm's obviously training that one now. Probably will win. Looks the right price, but I'll probably just take it easy with the ground being so bad. Just take it easy. Gamble responsibly. It's the best way to play it.
And Katie, I know you had a few you were looking at elsewhere for your racing TV column.
Yeah, I quite like the look of Greyval in the first at Newbury. I think she's better than a Mark, and it doesn't look very deep race, so I think she'll be able to get the win there. And East Street in the 125 at Haydock finished second last time out, but stayed on really well. Looked like he's crying out for a step up in trip. And so if he travels a bit better than he did last time, I think he'll go really well, and the conditions will suit him. The heavy ground at Haydock will be a real test of stamina, but I think he's got plenty of it, so he should have a good chance. And also at Taunton, Hurricane Harvey runs in the 2:45. I put him up last time out when he finished a really good fourth at Newbury at the start of the month. He was around 50-1 that morning, went off at 33-1, but he looked beaten after the first, but just kept going, showed a great attitude that impressed me. So I think he's going to go close there.
Okay, a few to watch out for then from Katie as well. There was just one I liked. I just wanted to talk about. At Musselburgh, they always have a good card on New Year's Day. It is if he turns up, but I just thought Holmes St George's could be worth another go for Stuart Crawford. Forgive his run last time out at Aintree. I just think you can give plenty of them a run that day. But coming back to Musselburgh, where he's got a really good record, I just thought might see him in good stead. Me and Mark were at Musselburgh back last year when he won over that course and distance, and I just think he seems to be suited by it. He finished second in the race last year behind Benson. He'll be slightly better off with the weights this time, but I just think Holmes St George could be one to keep an eye on if he does get declared, and Stuart Crawford as well does very well with his runners at Musselburgh, so just one to keep an eye on there. But anyway, that's it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks again to Izzy, Mark and Katie for giving up their time. Hopefully we found you someone as going into the new year. Also as well from us, Happy New Year. Hope you have a good night and a great 2024, and we'll see you again soon. So cheers. Right, that's done.